First, the D-backs acquired Nolan Arenado from the Cardinals in exchange for pitching prospect Jack Martinez, who was just an 8th-round pick in last year's draft. This was basically a salary dump where the Cardinals paid a lot of the money, $31 million of the $42 million left on that 2-year deal with Nolan Arenado, who turns 35 in April. He was limited to just 107 games last season with hamstring, back, ribs, finger, and a strained right shoulder. His offense looks like it might be in steep decline, but what do you guys think of Arenado in Arizona? Maybe he can be this year's George Springer. Huh?
Doubtful.
Yeah.
I'm very doubtful of that. I don't know. He spent last offseason trying to work on his bat speed, and it was a big storyline. And I think his bat speed was up a little bit. Yeah. 0.7 miles per hour. It did not help. He continued to hit the ball with absolutely no authority. 87 mile per hour average exit velocity, 108.3 mile per hour max exit velocity. Quality of contact metrics are disastrous pretty much across the board. I don't know, man. Maybe he can tweak something and get back to like a 30% pulled air rate when he's been at like 24 to 25 the last few years, and coax a dead cat bounce season out. But like, what does that even look like at this point? Like 20 homers, 80 RBI. It might not be completely nothing, but I don't think the chances of it are so high that in any 12-team league you have to draft Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Chase Field is a slight upgrade over Busch Stadium for whatever that is worth. Obviously, the D-backs lineup is an upgrade for Arenado, hitting, I don't know, somewhere in the middle of it, I guess, 5th, 6th, somewhere there. The NFBC ADP in January for Arenado is 488 as the 39th third baseman off the board. Scott, you have him as your 35th ranked third baseman. Chris, you have him at 40. I have him at 27. I don't really want to be the Nolan Arenado guy, but, you know, he's going to play every day in a great lineup, so I just kind of slotted him in there.
Yeah, I mean, when you get that far down the rankings, you're basically past the standard mixed league portion of the rankings. It's kind of a philosophical choice how you order them at that point. Yeah. You could order them as if it's a deep league and you're just trying to play it safe. Nolan Arenado, if he stays healthy, should get a ton of at-bats and matter in like NL-only leagues, maybe very deep mixed leagues. But I tend philosophically to put higher upside guys who are less assured of getting at-bats that at that point in my rankings. So, you know, I don't know that I necessarily think, oh, Frank loves Nolan Arenado because he has him 8 spots higher in the third base rankings than I do. I just think maybe you're tailoring your list a little differently there, because in like I could see again, health is important, but I could see in those really deep leagues Nolan Arenado kind of being a good thrifty play just to be like a compiler of counting stats. Yeah. But I think for the most part, we can say he's done mattering in fantasy, and this trade doesn't change that.
Like, I think the likeliest outcome might actually be that like Nolan Arenado outperforms Marcelo Meyer in fantasy in 2026. There's no way I would draft Nolan Arenado ahead of Marcelo Meyer outside of a scenario where I'm in a 15-team or an NL only.
Right.
I guess that wouldn't work there, but you get what I'm saying.
Perfect example, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The next question is what happens with Jordan Lawler here. It does seem like the D-backs are maybe lacking confidence here.
Hate him. They hate him.
The latest update we got was that they're going to give him a chance in center field. And I had someone tweet at me today that this doesn't affect Jordan Lawler because apparently whoever this person was thinks that the D-backs are just done using him as like an infielder, which if that's the case, they're going to give him a shot in the outfield.
But like, that's really here's what I don't understand about that. Like, if they're giving up on him as an infielder, like, why not just trade him for an outfielder? Why try to this unproven bat that they don't seem to have a lot of faith in, stick him at a position where he's not going to be like, they're moving him down the defensive spectrum to the point that it's costing him a lot of his trade value. Like, I'm sure there are other organizations that would be willing to try him, if not at third base, then second or shortstop.
The weird thing is, from everything that the scouting reports have said, he's not like a disaster at shortstop.
Right.
The problem is that Perdomo is really good.
Yeah, right. Like, it makes sense why they wouldn't play him over Geraldo Perdomo. It makes sense why they now wouldn't play him over Nolan Arenado defensively. It's just, is Nolan Arenado worth the trouble?
I mean, you could get a pretty good corner outfielder for like one whose bat you could really trust to plug in the lineup every day. For Jordan Lawler. I mean, they're not that hard to find. So why do you want to reduce his value to that and just take whatever he gives you as a hitter? I don't buy it. I don't buy the explanation, frankly. Yeah. I think if it's an outfield spot they're looking to fill, it's more likely going to be with Ryan Waldschmidt than Jordan Lawler.
Well, and Lawler has, like, if they're just giving up on Jordan Lawler as an infielder, that's a very recent decision. Because he never played a game in the outfield as a professional until the Dominican Winter League this year, where he played 3 games, according to Baseball Reference. Maybe it's more, I don't know, but that's all they have him there for in his entire career. He played 3 games in center field for Licey. Struck out 18 times in 46 plate appearances, by the way, in that stint in the Dominican Winter League. I don't know. Their outfield is weak enough outside of Corbin Carroll that I would not be surprised if Jordan Lawler is the starting center fielder on opening day.
Yeah.
But it just feels like asking a lot. And it does not feel like a vote of confidence in him. I don't know. Maybe he'll be just a very good center fielder, and I still like the offensive skills. You've got above average quality of contact metrics at AAA. Pretty good plate discipline numbers. The biggest thing is he might just not be able to hit spin at all. Like, his numbers against sweepers and sliders are abysmal. Like 40% whiff rates at AAA, like 290 xWOBAs. It's pretty bad. And that's also been the problem in the majors. I still think they just need to give him a chance, because he started 3 games in a row one time last year in the majors. One time. They just haven't given him a real chance yet. So I wonder if there's some behind the scenes stuff or some, like, they just, I don't know. I have never seen anything that suggests that he's, like, not a hard worker or anything, but it's so weird all around that that's the only thing that would make sense. I don't know.
Yeah. Every time it seemed like there was a pretty clear opportunity for Jordan Lawler, the D-backs have found a way to kind of stifle that, or bring somebody else in, or just give it to somebody else, like a Blaze Alexander or whoever it might be. And then some of these players have earned it. I get it. But, Jordan Lawler, top prospect, at least see what the kid can do, right? They haven't really given him that fair shake. So it is pretty weird the way that the D-backs have handled him.
Or trade him. Or trade him to a team that's willing to see what he can do. Free Jordan Lawler. I have to
imagine he still has some kind of trade value, right? Like, they could use pitching. They have not brought back Zach Gallen. They definitely could use another pitcher. So, build a package around Jordan Lawler for a pitcher. Why not? I mean, who would say no to that?
Unless they just think he can play center field.
Highly ranked prospect, even last year, and performed great at AAA like he always has. So, yeah, I mean,
it's becoming harder.
Shortstop is hard to find, and, like, in theory, he could still be that for some other team.
It's becoming harder and harder for my Jordan Lawler optimism to remain, but I'm hanging on until he gets a real opportunity.
On the Cardinals side of things, that clears a spot at third base. Yesterday, I kind of half-jokingly brought up Nolan Gorman as a very deep sleeper, so I think he'll be in the mix. I think everyone's kind of ears perked up and thought, J.J. Weatherholt, top prospect, could have an opportunity here. I think the Cardinals are not done making trades. I would bet on Brendan Donovan being traded before spring training. So I think one way or another, both guys, J.J. Weatherholt and Nolan Gorman, should have opportunities here in 2026.
I agree, and I'm more excited about Weatherholt.
For sure.
At bats aside, just as a hitting talent at this point, I'm more excited about Weatherholt than Lawler. And I think he would be among the Rookie of the Year favorites if he's there from the start. Maybe anyway, because I doubt he'll be down for long if he isn't there from the start. Yep. He should have been up in September, frankly, with as easily as he handled the high minors.
Yep, top 200 pick, I think.
Again, that's JJ Weatherholt that we were just talking about. Last point on this trade, Arenado, still an above-average defender, so I do think this is good news for D-backs pitchers, especially those who get ground balls. It's just, the left side of their infield, Perdomo and Arenado. Great defense there for the D-backs pitching staff. Next up, Chris, we made a trade, baby. Let's go. The Yankees and Marlins. The Yankees acquired Ryan Weathers from the Marlins in exchange for 4 prospects, outfielders Dylan Lewis and Brendan Jones, plus infielders Dylan Jaso, and I didn't look up how to say this guy's name, but
I guess Juan Matthews.
Juan Matthews or Matthews, something like that. It's a pretty big haul. None of those prospects are top names, but it's still 4 prospects. Obviously, the Marlins are going for the quantity route here, just hoping that they hit on maybe 1 or 2 of those players. Weathers gives the Yankees help with Carlos Rodon and Garrett Cole on the shelf to start the season. And we know Weathers has talent, but he just has not been able to stay healthy. He's only made 24 starts over the past 2 years while dealing with flexor and lat strain. Mm-hmm. So, Scott, we'll start with you here. Any interest in Ryan Weathers as a, I guess, pretty deep sleeper on the Yankees?
Sure, as a pretty deep sleeper, but your expectations should be very low. He's been a fantasy curiosity for a few years now, became even more curious last year when his already fast fastball picked up another mile per hour. But when a pitcher who already shows no ability to stay healthy begins adding velocity, I just think it's kind of a lost cause at that point. Like you're not going to suddenly become more durable if you're even asking more from your body like that. So, there are some interesting skill ratings there. He got a swinging strike rate up to 13% last year for the 8 starts he was healthy, with that additional mile per hour. And, obviously is a better supporting cast now with the Yankees. So there's always that chance he reaches a career high in innings, stays healthy enough that you really feel like, a career high for innings for him would be 95. So that's, even that wouldn't be that useful in fantasy, but there's always a chance he could scrape out 130 plus innings and be of some use to you. I just think, you better have a full pitching staff already by the time you're taking a chance on Ryan Weathers.
Yeah, just a late round flyer. I think this is a guy who has been a lot more interesting than actually good so far in his major league career. Like, it's a 3.74 ERA over the past 2 seasons, but even then it's like right around an average strikeout rate. The peripherals are all north of 4. I kind of think the ideal outcome for the Yankees is by June he's not in the rotation and he's just like a super awesome high leverage relief arm, because Carlos Rodon and Garrett Cole presumably will be back by June. And I would say Cam Schittler's certainly ahead of him. I would guess Will Warren's ahead of him. So I would think when the time comes and Carlos Rodon and Garrett Cole are healthy and nobody else has gotten hurt, which seems unlikely, they're pitchers, you would presume that Weathers and Luis Gil, and I think Weathers and Luis Gil could be outrageously good in the bullpen.
I'm not convinced Will Warren's good either. I'm not convinced Luis Gil is good.
Oh yeah,
there's a way that Weathers stays in the rotation, even if everybody's healthy. But yeah, it's just not realistic to hold out for anything there.
Yeah, it's hard to say for sure. I feel like it could wind up being a swingman role for Ryan Weathers. There were reports that even after this trade, the Yankees are not out on Freddie Peralta. So if they do something like that, that tells you, okay, they might be looking at Weathers more seriously as that swingman type, maybe more so as a reliever, but that hasn't happened yet. So I think as of now, Weathers is in the rotation to start the season until some of those names come back. And then, as we know, life finds a way. On the Marlins side of this, it makes it much more likely that one or both of their top pitching prospects, Robbie Snelling and Thomas White, will be in their opening day rotation. I think both are interesting sleepers right away. So, Chris, I'll throw this over to you. The Marlins side of things, Any thoughts on those pitching prospects? And do you have any thoughts on the prospect that the Marlins got in return in this deal?
Yeah, according to Baseball Prospectus, the Marlins got 2 of the Yankees' top 10 prospects and 4 of their top 20, but it's 7, 10, 14, and 18. So it's not a huge haul. I think it's a lot for Ryan Weathers. Like, I'm shocked they got like meaningful pieces for Ryan Weathers, just because I don't think Ryan Weathers is a guy that the fantasy and stat nerd baseball community likes a lot more than like reality does.
Yeah.
And so
also just like 3 years of control for any pitcher.
Yeah.
A decent amount.
I could see him being an awesome high leverage relief arm, and that would be worth giving up for interesting but not at all can't miss prospects. Like, I get why the Yankees did it, but from a Marlins fan perspective, given the strengths of this team and given that, like, I'm not 100% sure Ryan Weathers is better than Jansen Junk from like a real life perspective. He's more interesting for fantasy, but I don't know if like he keeps runs off the board any worse than Ryan Weathers. So I think it's a great move for the Marlins. I like the quantity over quality approach that they've taken in a lot of their trades over the past couple of years. I think it's smart. Get as many bites at the apple as possible. For the fallout for the Marlins, though, roster resource currently does not have either Robbie Snelling or Thomas White in the rotation. If I was handicapping it, I would probably put it at something like 50-50, maybe 55-45 Robbie Snelling's in the rotation, and probably more like 25-75 for Thomas White. But Thomas White is the kind of talent who could show up at spring training and just dominate and force the Marlins' hand. There has been some rumblings of that already. He got to AAA last year at 20. Robbie Snelling just turned 22, I think 3 days ago or something. And he already dominated AAA. So I might be underselling Robbie Snelling at 55-45. I don't know if Max Meyer has options. I don't know if Jansen Junk has. Jansen Junk should have options, I would guess.
One option is bullpen. Right.
Like
there's nothing that would stop them from doing that with him.
But if they wanted to keep these guys stretched out and,
Junk does not have options.
Max Meyer has 2 options. Yeah.
Really? That's surprising. Okay. So, I guess missing all that time for Max Meyer preserved his options. I kind of think Max Meyer should just be in the bullpen anyway. I just don't think his stuff's going to work as a starter, but I understand if they want to give him 3 weeks at the start of the season and just say, hey, let's see if we can. He had some interesting stretches last year early on, so maybe there's something there. I kind of doubt it. But it certainly opens a path for Robbie Snelling and Thomas White. I would say Robbie Snelling much more likely and should be in that bench round flyer range of your draft.
Probably the top. He should. Robbie Snelling should be the highest drafted pitcher
who has not debuted in
America last year and has not debuted yet.
Okay.
How's that?
Okay, Tetsuya Yamai.
Yeah.
Maybe Cody Ponce.
Ponce has debuted.
Oh, you're right.
And he wasn't in America last year, so.
Yeah. I remain very, very excited.
I take Snelling over Ponce anyway, to be clear.
Okay.
I would take Snelling over Ryan Weathers. Like I would.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm very excited about Robbie Snelling, and I agree, Chris. I think I would probably put that odds chance of Snelling being in the rotation even higher. For me, it would probably be like maybe 60 or 70% that he's on the opening day roster.